A few days ago, I posted a quick tip on animating lines, and a commercial I saw with this effect, so I thought I would try
What?
to
Are you kidding
replicate
me?
it. And I'll show you how to do that if you want, and we can make a project together. So this is, I won't show this part. This was a little bit trickier, and I'm not sure I could be too fluent on that, but you can play around with it. So where is, oh, here we go. So we can do this one together, that we can, it's kind of go, oop, and it's not so good. We'll have to do better when we do it. That might fix it. So we can, this is going a little slow, but we can do the reveal hidden, and underneath it says messages. So let's show you how to do that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the sliding bar. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to grab a square, and then I'm going to have it centered. You can see that purple line. I'm going to make it smaller, and what I'm going to do is I'm going over here to scale, and I'm going to unlock it. I'm going to make the X 1, and let's just make the Y 30. You can make it whatever you want. But here we have a small line. Let's change that color to white. So now I have a line. I am going to extend that out just so I have enough. I can always make it smaller if I want. Now I'm going to go get a text, and you can get whatever font you want. I want that to be centered as well. And what did I have? Reveal hidden. So we have reveal hidden as our text. I'm going to put it under this square. So when the square goes over it, this is underneath it. I'm going to extend that out a little just to make sure I have enough. Now what I'm going to do is, I had animated them, so I'm going to do a quick animation. Go to motion, and we can just have it for you to be able to do this as well. If you go in to saved for the scale XY, it will go like that. I did it by letters. So we'll just do something simple just so that you can have the animation, because what I want to show you that you need to do, we are going to mask this. The reason I just want to put an animation here is so you realize you need to group it before you can mask it. So what I'm going to do is grab another square. I'm going to draw it as long. I'm going to put it in the middle of that line. I may have to do some adjusting after, but once I have it generally set, this is going to be my mask. So let me bring this down to the text. See what happens if I mask it now. I've animated the text and I have a mask. If I select both, let's just do this first. Remember, we have this animated, right? If I select both of these, I right click and I mask reveal hidden. Now look what happens. The animation is not happening. So I'm going to Command Z to undo my mask. If I select the text, right click and group it, then I do the masking. Now you can see the animation stays. So that's why I did that. What I'm going to do before I even start anything else is I'm going to duplicate this. And this is going to be reveal hidden. And this will be, what did I have? Reveal hidden what? Oh, messages. That's right. I'm going to change this to messages. And I'm just going to move this out of the way for a while. So I've got my reveal hidden and this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to animate my square. Probably doesn't have to be quite that far over. I'm going to hit my shift key and my arrow key and just move it a little closer. It doesn't need to be so far away. Now it may not be as centered, but I don't want to go back and change all that right now. You can change that. I'm going to select the square that I made to my bar. So that is the sliding bar. I'm going to add an animation using linear and position. I'm going to drag to my end keyframe, and now all I'm going to do is use my shift key and my arrow, my right arrow, just so it stays on the right horizontal. Whoop. Maybe stop about there. Now you can see that it's going to be sliding over. There we go. Now we need to animate the text. So you're going to go over here to detach mask. And here's where now I'm going to shorten the mask. You have to have it detached. If you don't, let me show you what happens if you don't. I just undid that. I'm going to attach the mask. If I try to drag that, it's going to move everything. I'm going to undo it. You have to detach it and then move it. Leave it detached. And now we're going to add an animation. We're going to do position and scale and do the same easing as linear. Now what I'm going to do, oh, let me just move this keyframe to match. I want the end to match with the sliding bar. We still might need to do some timings, but it's best to have it equal to that. So let's see what happens. That also got bigger. There. Now what we're going to do is we already animated this as position and scale, right? And we want it to be totally visible at the end. So at the beginning, I'm going to click and drag to the start. Now let's see what happens. Now, excuse me, as we slide the bar, it's also revealing the letters. And it looks like, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, because clearly I made a mistake on the first one that I didn't catch until I showed you. It looks like it did okay. All right, that looks good. So it goes over. Now, as soon as it is at the end, I might go forward just a little bit, but I timed it to music, so you might time this differently and nothing is right or wrong. What I'm going to do now is add another animation, and I'm going to do position and scale, and I'm going to keep the same easing. I'm going to go to the end keyframe. Now I'm going to go over here, click on that lock. Now I want it to go down to 0. And let me just show you the anchor point is in the middle. You can make the anchor point anywhere you want. I chose the middle. You could have it go, if we want it to go from the bottom, we could just choose the bottom and then it will grow. I'm going to undo that. You're going to want to do that from the start because it's going to move it in weird positions. So here, and then it goes down. Then I'm going to go just a little bit. Then I'm going to add another keyframe, linear, position scale, go to my end keyframe, back unlocking the scale, go back up to 30. So let's see how that looks. I definitely think that's, whoop, hold on. This was a little long, so I'm going to click between the keyframes and just have it happen quicker. I think I actually even had the keyframe right on top, so I think I want to do that. I don't think I like this, the way it stops. It looks smoother when it does that. Then give it a little moment and then have it come up. Again, I did it to the music, so you'll also do the same thing. You'll do however you want it to be. But now it went down, it came back up. Now I'm going to add another keyframe, position. You don't need scale this time. Linear. Move my keyframe. Use my shift key and my left arrow to move it back. Now what I should have done, and here's a little trick for you, if I add a guideline, I'll be sure to put it in the same spot. So now I didn't do too bad on my little guess, but I'm probably just a couple too far. There. So now we have it reveal the hidden, and now it's going back. Okay, so I did just stop, and I'm not sure, this might be a little it might be not seam together so well, but I have my reveal hidden. As we are moving our sliding bar to the left, we need to get rid of hidden, the reveal hidden. So I'm going to select that text, add an animation of linear, position, and scale. I'm going to go to the same spot as my other keyframe. Might have to do a little bit of timings, but let's see how this goes. I'm going to select my end keyframe, click and drag the mask. So let's see. I'm going to zoom in a little. It looks like it worked. And then what I did at that same time, you can add another, add animation, position, scale, linear, unlock it, and go down to 0. So then it can scale back down. Down. I must have changed the scale to the wrong keyframe. Linear, position, and scale. Here is where I want to go down to 0. So see how I made that mistake, but all you have to do, undo is my best friend, and then just go. And what I had done is, I'll watch it back, but I know what I did wrong. I changed. I was on the wrong keyframe when I scaled down. That was my mistake. All right, so we have that all set. Now we need messages to show up underneath, but we still don't have it saying messages. So let's open that group. I am going to click and change this to messages. Now it's a shorter word, so that did play some tricks on when I was doing timings. We'll see how that works. I also had that as black. So let's go back to our project. Now I need to bring this closer. And let's see where it's going to show up. You know what I'm going to do? Just because my timings are different, I'm going to go in here and delete the animation just to keep it clean for the first time that we're doing this. So messages is going to show up right there, which looks centered. I think it looks fine. So let's try that. So what we want to do is we want to animate that to start to appear here. We don't want it to be there right now. So I'm going to select messages, detach the mask. I'm going to add an animation of linear for the easing and position and scale just like I did for reveal hidden. I'm going to click and drag this to the same location as my other keyframes. We may have to change that, but that will be our start. I'm going to go to the first keyframe, go to my left, and drag that over to the bar. And I'm going to click and drag my first keyframe to be right at the start of messages. So it starts to go with the bar, and it is already rushing. I could see that happening. So I'm going to click and drag my last keyframe just a little bit more to the right. So now as the white is going, this is lagging a little bit. I can see a gap, but let's just see where it ends up. I'm going to click on my last keyframe and see where it ended up. And it's too far. So I'm going to bring it right over to where the bar is. Let's see if that helps. Bring this keyframe back to where the other ones are. I should have checked that before. Now it looks better, but it's still a little bit off. And it's my end keyframe. I didn't have it lined up. So let's see. I think we got it. It was because I hadn't moved when I resized over here for the mask on the left, I forgot to move my keyframe to be in line with the sliding bar and reveal hidden. So let's see if that did it. I think it did. Let's play it. And there you go. Now you would just continue to do this whole process for every word that you want underneath. So if you want another word, You're then going to move forward. You're going to add this animation, position and scale for the sliding bar with linear. Go to the end keyframe, which is what I didn't do the last time. Click the lock and go up to, was it 30? And then it will scale back up. And then you can put another text box under messages. And as that comes up, you can then animate that just like we did the first time to go to the right. So I hope that helps, and I hope my errors didn't confuse you too much, but hopefully you can learn from those because I make so many of them that it's crazy. So showing you how to fix the error, like me not doing the right keyframe, might be helpful, and hopefully it wasn't confusing. So have fun.